Most of our decisions are influenced by our environment. I don't make the same decision in front of my friends that I make at the office. When I'm alone, I don't make the same decision. See, the brain has a lot more energy in the morning. It's like the sun goes down, our energy levels are low, and then we make bad decisions. Our brains are not made or designed to make the right decision. If you can make 50% of your decisions right, you're successful. Historically, we were surrounded by the Himalayas, plenty of animals, so we didn't lack resources. We didn't need to make choices. Willpower is a myth.
Hello and welcome. This is Tanvi Joshi, a fellow learner and your host on our brand new podcast called Meet Me Halfway. Firstly, everybody who's clicked on this video, a very, very, very warm welcome to you. I know that you are somebody who loves taking your own decisions, who wants to take your life back in your control, and we're all about doing those things here. You know, the trigger for this particular topic was a very personal one. I was just sitting and thinking that for the longest, when in my growing up years, and it's true for all of us, in our growing up years, especially in our society, I'm talking about the Indian households, I was told to quietly follow and believe everything that my elders ever told me to do. And of course, it was in the best interest. But basically what that did was, it never let me think for myself. And then I grew up, like all of us do. And one day, I woke up, got out of my bed, got out of my room, and my parents started looking at me and expecting me to start taking decisions for myself, for the household, for them. I mean, how am I supposed to do that? And I know that all of us are struggling with this. क्योंकि कभी किसी ने बताया ही नहीं कि सोचते कैसे हैं. मतलब डिसीजन कैसे लेते हैं, ये तो दिस इज अनदर पार्ट ऑफ इट. बट हाउ डू यू थिंक? हैज anyone ever had this conversation with us? I wasn't fortunate to have that, at the risk of my parents not liking me right now, but it's okay. That's the reality. We need to address the elephant in the room, and I wanted to crack the hell out of this topic. And because of these anxieties that I had around decision making, especially the big decisions of my life, like career, when I'm choosing a partner, should I do a job switch right now? Should I get out of this country right now? These are big decisions. They weigh on us. They weigh us down if they're not taken in the right way. And nobody tells us how to do that. But that wait is over clearly. We're going to discuss all of this and a lot more. We're going to understand what exactly happens scientifically in our brains when we take decisions. We're going to learn a great tool to help us take the right decisions most times in our life. And to discuss this, we have an expert with us who is an applied behavioral economist. He is a guy who does some really exciting things. He has gamified decision making. Isn't that interesting? He has gamified it largely for business owners, but he's also onto some really interesting projects like gamifying how to be a good parent, gamifying how to be in a relationship. Do you know all these things can be done in a framework? We'll ensure that we get that from him too. So let's not waste more time. Let's understand how this decision making is done, and let's get our control back in our hands. Over to you, Harry. His name is Heribert Thomas, but I call him Harry. So let's refer to him as Harry. Harry, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for making time, and thank you so much for meeting us halfway.
Thank you so much for that introduction.
I hope I've done justice to it, because there are a lot of things in decision making that we don't understand because we don't know them.
Yeah.
And our expectation from you today is to begin with, just help us understand what decision making exactly is. How do we do it? How can it be done better?
Okay.
But before all of that, I'd love for me and my fellow learners to understand what behavioral economics is exactly. What do you do?
Well, do you know what's happening inside my brain right now? What am I thinking?
No.
Exactly. No one knows what the other person is thinking. So there's a science which studies how people behave.
Okay.
And from the way they behave, we interpret what they were thinking. This is called behavioral economics.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So science is based on evidence. Evidence is your actions, whatever you do. So I'm moving my hands here. Okay. I do this. All of these are decisions that I've made, either consciously or unconsciously, but they're still decisions. We observe this, we study this, and from that we interpret what people are thinking, what kind of a mindset they have, and this is what behavioral economics is.
Wow, you're a scary person to have in the room, clearly. Okay, but I'm going to, the part of this that I'm going to keep with me is the part that helps us understanding decision making.
Yeah.
So, is there a definition of decision making or how decision is defined in behavioral economics?
It is action. Action is a decision. Okay? Whatever action you take, that is a decision. Now, the reason for this is we do not know what is happening in your brain while you're making that action. So, what science says is we make decisions, and then when someone asks us why we made that decision, we justify it. But most of our decisions are made very subconsciously. 90% of them depend on our conditioning, our upbringing, the way we identify ourselves. We make decisions based on that. But when someone asks us, why did I buy a red car? Then I have to justify it. I can't tell him it was a gut feeling. I just like the car. I like the way it looked. So because we like to say we are rational, but the honest truth is we are irrational by nature. With our education and the kind of careers that we do, we have to find some type of rationality to explain or reason why we did things. And that's where this whole notion of justifying things comes from. So when we study behavior, we don't look at the justification.
Okay.
We look at the action. Okay. So if there are two choices, A and B. You chose A, we just observe that. And we say, okay, Tanvi made a decision to choose A. Now, in the second scenario, we'll change A to B and see, are you going to choose B this time? And if you do choose B, then I know that is a choice you wanted to make.
So first I'm presented with both the options and I choose A. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. And we test it by changing the option. So let me say option A is a blue pen, option B is a red pen. Okay. So first time I ask you, I give you two options, blue pen, red pen. You take one, right? Second time I make a red option A and blue option B, and I try and test, do you still go with blue? If you don't, then I know maybe you're just going with the first option.
Oh, right.
So decisions made, I don't care about your justification. I'll be honest. I just care about what influenced your decision. And most of our decisions are influenced by our environment. Okay. So I don't make the same decision in front of my friends that I make at the office, So we behave very differently in different environments. And when I'm alone, I don't make the same decision. So we try and study environments, because what behavioral economists have realized is environment plays a huge role in your decision. And what I specifically study is how people make decisions under stress or in uncertainty.
Wow.
because that is some of our major decisions. Okay, that's where there's higher stress, higher consequence, and that's also the place where we make majority of our mistakes
Under stress.
under stress, and that affects us.
Yeah.
So I want to make it easy for people to figure out how do you still make good decisions under stress.
Okay.
Okay, and how can you practice this skill set? So that's why I've built a game called Bottom Line. You play as the founder of a company, and there's a lot of stress, there's a lot of emotion, because you're playing with other people who are also founders and competing with you.
Right.
And how do you react when situations change? When, say, a founder is making more money than you are, it's going to hurt. Someone decides to steal your employees because you have really good employees, and they decide to offer a higher salary and poach them.
Right.
How do you react to that? Because we can tell ourselves we are rational, and the moment you're under stress, you become emotional.
Yeah. True.
Then your decision making is gone for a toss.
But how does the one do this when they don't have bottom line?
That is so you can do it if you have help. Okay, so we make this mistake, especially a lot of founders, people who feel responsible for the decision. They feel that I have to do it alone. So we never talk about our decision making process with someone else. It comes across as I'm being weak if I don't know what decision to make. Okay, so one easy way to help yourself is have someone in your close network where you can talk to about your decisions and reflect with them after you make the decision. Okay, so what it does is they have not made the decision. They don't have the bias that you have.
So you're just talking it out to a person.
Yes.
Who you confide in.
Yes, and they can give you a perspective which is outside what you were thinking.
Right.
And that's a great way, because when we have to give advice to someone else, we're great at it.
Yeah, always.
When we have to apply it to ourselves, not so much.
Never.
Yeah,
Brain doesn't work.
it doesn't work. And that's why you confide in someone who doesn't have the same emotion regarding that decision like you.
So you're outsourcing something about your decision making. What is that?
The process. So let me give you an example. In our brain, when we have to make a decision, especially under stress, there is an emotion that comes in. And emotion is the trigger that our body uses to force us to make a decision. Okay, so you're buying something online, and there is this offer that says, this offer will run out in 4 hours. Okay, it's a 30% off for the next 4 hours. Okay, now there is an emotion of regret that comes in if I don't make the decision today, because tomorrow you will feel I should have bought it. And that emotion is the trigger they use to force you into a decision. Okay, so if you can understand what emotion is forcing you to make a decision, if you are aware of that emotion.
So if I can put a finger to it and identify that this is what is pushing me to take this decision.
Yes. That can help you in delaying the decision.
Oh, fab.
Yeah, because if you delay the decision, you get more time to think logically rather than emotionally, and you have a higher probability of making a better decision at that point.
That makes a lot of logical sense. Which is obviously not happening right now, because most marketers are playing with our emotions rather than our rational.
See, the challenge is the science of behavioral economics is around 20 years old.
Right.
Last 20 years, 90% of the Nobel Prizes in economics have gone to behavioral economists.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The reason we open our phone and directly go to Instagram is because Instagram has a team of behavioral economists who tell us how the brain works and how I can force a person or a user to make Instagram a habit. Because the challenge is, when we make a decision, there are two types of decisions. One is where we have to think about it, where we are aware we are making a decision. One is where we are not aware of it, where we make it very organically.
Right.
Yeah? If you can get people to make this decision for your products very organically or as a habit, you have a user for life.
Say that again.
If you can get someone to become habitual to your product or service, you have a user for life, because he will unlock his phone and directly open Instagram, because it's a habit. He's not aware that he's doing this, he or she. So that's what people try to do when they're working for private companies. But there's also this understanding that our brains are not made or designed to make the right decision.
Is that true or it's not?
It's absolutely true. Your brain is not designed to make the right choice. The brain is designed to make a choice which costs least amount of energy. Okay. So, for example, you're hungry. That's an emotion. So your brain has to make a decision now.
Right.
The easiest decision is, I can click a button and order food. The right decision is, I can go to the kitchen and cook something, which is long term, which is healthy. But that's how our brains were designed. So when we were cavemen, hunter-gatherers, our brain wanted to be lazy. Okay, spend less amount of energy in getting food. So what we did is, we formed communities, we formed tribes. So now,
Share the load.
I can't hunt today. I have people in my tribe who'll do that for me. Okay, and with time, what we did? Oh, hunting is tough. Let us farm. Okay, so I'll just grow some crop here. I'll just lie down, and in 4 months I'll have food. So we did that. And then we said, you know what, we made food, but how do I get more things? I want safety. I want a house. I don't want to lie down in the sun. So suddenly we built houses. We built a production line. We built infrastructure. All of this because our brain wanted to be lazy. Spend less amount of energy. Okay, but now what it has led to is, we have reached a stage where we don't need to struggle for food. Right. It's easily available. We don't need to struggle for our basic needs as much, but our brains have not evolved with the environment, because evolving the brain to this level took a millennium, took centuries. And we can't expect it to change, because in 100 years we just outgrew ourselves.
Yeah, so true.
So our brain is still old. That's the challenge.
And that is what is making, I think, any kind of decision making a lot more difficult or paralyzing experience, because you always, there is this struggle that I want to choose convenience, but I know that's not the right thing.
Yeah.
I want to make healthy choices, but I don't want to get out of bed. It's a never ending loop.
Actually, the challenge is, we have too many choices. If you were given a choice between an apple and an orange, okay, there's just two choices. You can choose whatever you want, but the satisfaction that your brain gives or gets, the dopamine that is released, is higher versus if you had 10 choices. Okay, you had 10 different fruits to choose from. You had apple, oranges, bananas, grapes, avocado. You had so many options.
Right.
Okay. Now you choose an apple. Now the problem is, your brain is not thinking about what it chose. It's thinking about the 9 choices that it did not take.
Oh, wow.
And the biggest emotion that we have is regret. And our regret of what those other 9 choices could have done for us is stronger than the satisfaction of choosing that one fruit. So that's the challenge.
So basically, what is making us get exhausted is not the process of decision making that final decision. It is the abundance of choices that we have.
Absolutely. It's the abundance of choices. You restrict your choices, it's better. Like, think about someone who's a health fanatic. They go to the gym every day in the morning. Okay. They are very focused on their diet. Now, what they've done is their identity is around health.
Right.
Okay. What it does is it restricts choice. If I'm a healthier person, I'm not going to eat too much processed food. I'm not going to have too much sugar.
Yeah.
I'm not going to have food at odd hours.
Right.
Okay. And I'm going to have a diet which is protein based, which is great for my goals, my health goals, whether that is building my body or whether that is to be an athlete.
Yeah.
Now, what this person has done is they've restricted so many choices to vegetative.
Right. Right.
So suddenly it's easy to make.
Right.
My choice is between proteins,
Yeah.
Now, if I have to eat proteins in veg, there are very few choices.
Yeah.
And then, I'm just left with the rajmas and the chanas.
Yeah.
I don't have to think about all the dals and all of that.
Yeah.
So that's where we restrict our choice through who we say we want to be. So if you don't have an identity which is core to you, okay, if you don't have a purpose, what that means is you allow all the choices to come to you and you can't make that decision.
But it's difficult, na?
Absolutely.
It's so difficult to come to a point where you're completely aligned with yourself and you say, I know there are so many options. Let's take career, for example. I know there are so many options available, but this is the area that I want to focus on, and now let me see within this what are the options available. Or actually, it might just be easier with careers. Let's take relationships as an example. Yeah. That I think is a more befitting example for this, where you have so many apps. You have so many. Generally, people socialize a lot more. Yeah. There are a lot of ecosystems that are creating spaces for people to come, interact with each other, socialize. So now the options have become abundant.
Yeah.
How does a person who's not found the ideal partner in their life, how does that person say that, okay, fine, let's do one thing. ये सब को छोड़ दो, मैं सिर्फ एक पे फोकस करता हूँ. ये कैसे करे इंसान? How? It's not. I can't see it being possible.
It's funny that you had to bring up this topic because I went through it myself.
No way.
Yeah. So I was in my 30s, just entered my 30s, and I was in dating, and I thought it's about time that I put myself on the market. Okay. At this age, because I was a founder myself, there's less exposure to new kinds of people. So I thought dating apps are a great way. Let me use them. The problem with dating apps, like you said, is there are an abundance of choices. So I started putting myself out there. I started dating, and then I realized they were not the right fit. I was very sad with the kind of people I met. I was very stressed out with the experiences that I had, and I became depressed because I met women where I felt like some of them were, they were in a relationship. Like someone was married and they were going through a separation, and I was like, this is something you tell me before we go out on a date, not on the third date. And when this happened to me, I sat down and said, I need to figure out how to solve this. I need to figure out how to find the person for me. Okay. So the first thing I did is I realized I need people to see me for who I am. Okay. So I need options. Like women should choose me on the app for me to have a chance at dating. So I made a good profile. Then there are some apps you can ask a question and they can answer that question. So if it's an exciting question, people will answer. So I said, I know the best place in town for cheesecakes. And this is run by a foreigner with his Indian wife. And oh shit, I said too much. And that's where I left it, you know. I woke up the next day feeling like a woman.
Why you had that many options?
That many options.
Wow, okay.
Turns out everyone loves cheesecakes. But here's the part which changed my life, which ended up with me finding my wife.
Oh, wow.
So I said, there are too many options. I need to cut it down. So I made a few principles that I follow on a dating app, which save me and help me find the right person.
Okay.
First principle, do not be on the dating app for more than 5 minutes. Yeah.
That itself is a challenge.
That is a challenge. So I kept a timer, started the app, the alarm goes off, shut it.
Wow.
Dating apps are endless. So if I just keep swiping, I can spend hours and still find more options, right? 5 minutes first. Second thing is, once someone starts talking to you, if there is genuine interest, try and meet them.
Meet them in person.
Meet them in person, because there's nothing like meeting a person in person, right? So you start engaging, but once you start engaging with a person, you do not engage with anyone else. Okay, so
you're shutting out the noise.
Shutting out the noise. So this used to happen where I started talking to a girl and someone else pinged me, and I said, I'm so sorry. I'm currently in conversation with someone. If it doesn't work out, let us catch up then. And hey, till then, here's the address for the cheesecake. You know? So people don't feel rejected.
Yeah.
Because the hardest thing to take is you're being vulnerable, you're putting yourself out there and you get rejected.
Yeah.
It's not a nice feeling. So that ended up with me talking to one girl. I ended up meeting her. And when I met her, the app was shut because by rule, I was not going to talk to anyone else. Another rule I made is I never open the dating app at night.
Okay.
See, the brain has a lot more energy in the morning. As it's like the sun goes down, our energy levels are low, and then we make bad decisions. Most of our bad decisions are usually later part of the day. So it's bound to...
Yeah, actually, that's when you end up binging on some rubbish just because you're watching TV or you're just ordering some things on Amazon that you actually don't need. You're right.
Yeah. So I said, I know this science. Let me use it for myself.
Yeah.
So no dating apps after 5. Before that, and if someone engages, you talk to them, try and only chat with them. So notifications for their messages are on.
Right.
And if you can get them on WhatsApp, even better. So then you don't have to check the dating app, right? I ended up talking to a girl. I really liked her. And it's been 2.5 years we are married.
Wow. That's amazing. So it works.
It works, but it takes discipline. It forces you to restrict your choice. It forces you to be mindful of other people. See, if I'm going to be...
in this context,
if I'm talking to multiple people, the brain is going to tell me that इससे तो अच्छी कोई और मिलेगी. There's someone who's more prettier than her, more successful than her, who's more fun than her. But the thing is, I do not want someone else. I just want someone who fits for me. Right? And it had to come from a place where I failed at it. And then I realized that people are not a ticket list. It's not something you just tick. Okay, a list of 100 green flags and I'll marry them. No, that's not how it works. You're with the person. You need to feel respected. You need to feel trusted. You need to feel like you can be yourself around them. But it doesn't happen on day one. It happens. Initially, you're strangers. You talk. You enjoy that experience of being together. You give them a chance. You give them a chance for some time. And, relationships have this classic thing that dopamine is released when you're pursuing someone. And the moment you achieve that goal, then there's no dopamine. So the honeymoon period is over. Ideally, it's 6 months. After 6 months, the person isn't as exciting as you thought they were. That is where the harder things come in. Where you need to have difficult conversations, where you need to understand that person also comes with their insecurities, their doubts. They are a whole package. They are not this embodiment of perfection that you saw on day one.
And that is your definition of perfection. You can't expect it from someone else who comes from a different
and because I was open to this fact, and I was open because I failed. Let me be very honest here. If I didn't fail at dating, I probably wouldn't have taken such dramatic steps. Okay? Because I failed, I, being a Mallu Christian, I've been brought up in Pune. I ended up marrying my wife, who's a Gujarati Hindu who lives in Gujarat. She just came here to Pune to study for 2 years. That's the 2 years I met her.
Oh, wow.
It's like, if you use dating apps the right way, you end up finding someone who's beyond what you imagine. But you need to be ready to invest and be disciplined and understand that at the end of the screen, there's another human being. It's not like an AI who's going to be perfect, So.
And I think true for a lot of other decisions also in our life, right? If I have to just take this as a framework, and if I have to apply some other decision that I have to take in my life, which is impacting me and my family, then it's true for that too. At the end of it, it's all about the discipline that you choose to bring in yourself.
Yes.
And I think before that, agreeing to yourself that, okay, I want to make this decision. I don't want to keep floating around. Right? And we will definitely talk a little more about frameworks on decision making. But before that, I'd love to understand, when you make a decision, there is a scientific process to it, right? Because I want to believe that there is a scientific process to it, because it comes out of your brain. So what is it that really happens inside your brain or your neural system, whatever it's called? What happens when you're presented with a choice, or when you're presented with a situation in your life where you have to take a decision?
So when you make a decision, so look at it from a very early age, when we are kids, okay? When you start making a decision, at that time our brains aren't fully formed. So we have higher neural activity in the brain. So there are neurons in the brain, and when we make a decision, one neuron goes to the other neuron and there's a pathway which is made. Okay? So if you do the same decision again and again, so waking up and brushing your teeth is a decision, right? When we make that decision again and again, this neural pathway is being followed again and again. So now for this neuron to take this pathway, it's very easy.
Got it.
There's no energy cost, because
it was
already made. But now when you have to make a new decision, okay, so you have moved on to a new city You have to find a house. That's a new decision, right? Here, your neurons don't have a pathway to follow.
Correct.
So now you have to think, you have to spend energy, you have to research, you have to find the right house for you. Then you have to make a list of things that you're looking for in the new house, right? So there is a new neural pathway that is formed when you're finding this house.
So that whole contemplation, the whole research, asking some experts,
Yes.
all of that is forming the
Decision.
and building that road.
It's building that road, and what I'm saying is a very simplified form, right?
I will not
Yeah. But when you make that pathway once, now what happens when you're looking for your second house, this pathway is already there, right? So there are things that you've learned.
Right.
You're going to use it this time, and you're going to add to it, because this time probably you have a higher salary, you want a bigger house, but in the past house you probably didn't get too much sunlight. You've learned that. Now in the second house, what you're looking for is, let me have east facing houses where there is sunlight, you know. So now this information gets added to this pathway.
Okay.
Okay, so what this does over a period of time is, initially our upbringing of 18 years, 20 years, whatever you call it, there are neural pathways which are made.
Okay.
Okay, so we tend to
Can we call this conditioning?
it is conditioning. It is conditioning. We follow those same pathways when we have to make a decision which we've made previously.
Got it.
Okay? If you have to change that decision, you have to think, and it takes effort. So what you would do is, if I'm a Christian for Easter, I'm used to having chicken. Okay, so I go out on Easter, it's a no-brainer for me what to order.
Right.
But if I am not a Christian, I go out and I don't have a pathway which is set on what I want to eat. Now I'm looking at the menu and there are 50 options, and I have to think. And now the problem is, all my life I've been taught that you have to make the right choice. You know, if you make the bad choice, there are consequences. So you feel, oh, if I order dal makhni and it doesn't turn out that well, my stomach might not feel so good about it. And you put pressure for a decision which doesn't amount to too much.
Right.
You know, so here the neural pathways which are set usually are set for these small decisions which we don't need to think about.
Got it.
Okay, so 90% of
Brain is doing that job now for you, autopilot.
autopilot mein. So we call it system 1.
Oh, okay.
Okay, system 1 is which you do on autopilot. You don't think about it. It doesn't cost you energy. It's very natural. Okay, system 2 is where you have to think logically. Yeah, you have to put in effort, and there is no previous data to go by.
Right.
You know, and that is system 2. The key to making good decisions is to train your system 2 with frameworks so that it becomes your system 1.
Okay. Even if you've not been in that situation?
No, you have.
When you are in the situation.
When you are in that situation for the first time, it's always going to be system 2.
Right. Of course.
Right? And then you practice. So, for example, you have your podcast. The first day when you take your first episode, you shoot your first episode, that's system 2.
Right.
Okay, you're thinking about the questions you need to ask. You're thinking about what things I should make sure I don't do in the second episode. You know, you're thinking about the lighting, the mic, all the checklists. But by your 10th episode, these are on autopilot. So either they are on autopilot for you, or you've delegated it to someone who makes sure that these things happen.
Delegated it to someone as in some other person?
Yes.
Okay.
So if you learn something, the most successful people in the world, the Jeff Bezos, the Mark Zuckerbergs of the world, they make principles or frameworks for this, and they delegate it to others. They teach others this. And So then they don't have to do it again and again.
And they're also probably, their mind space is free for the larger strategic, more challenging decisions that need to be made.
Exactly. Like I remember reading that Facebook, they had taken up an office which was previously owned by a company, I think it was Sun Microsystems. Okay. So the office had the logo of Sun Microsystems. And what Mark Zuckerberg did is, he said, don't remove it. Now imagine you're walking into the office of Facebook and you're seeing somebody else's logo on the conference room, your meeting room, and you're wondering why. And the thing he said was, I want everyone who comes here to remember that in Silicon Valley, you might be very successful, but you can die really fast.
Oh.
So that logo was a good reminder to all the employees. When you see that, that's how fast you can die. So he's created this framework. He's put it. Now everyone's following it. There are visual cues. There's communication which is happening. So if someone asks, why is this logo here? The HR knows what to tell them.
Yeah.
So these are frameworks. If you can scale your frameworks to a larger audience, you have a company which follows this prototype, this kind of structure. And that's in a particular domain, they can become very successful.
That's very interesting, yeah. But then in a scenario like this, what happens to the larger decisions that are sometimes just one-time decisions? Because those are going to be system 2. And then what? Then at that moment, how do you optimize your decision making?
You have to choose which decisions to spend energy on. So you call this one-way door decisions and two-way door decisions. Okay. So you've seen those revolving doors, right? You go in and you can come out as well. Smaller decisions are like those revolving doors. You make that decision and you realize you've made a mistake, you can come back.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. You were going somewhere, you took a wrong turn, you can go ahead, take a U-turn, come back. What's the cost? The cost is 2 extra minutes that it's going to take. It's fine. But the bigger decisions, what career you need to take, who you should marry, whether you should have a kid or not. These are decisions which you can't go back from. These are one-way door decisions. Once that door is open and shut,
I mean, most times
you can't go back. And if you go back, you're not the same person.
Yeah, true.
That's the challenge. So you have to realize that decisions have to be prioritized based on their outcome and spend energy on the one-way door decisions. The two-way door decisions are fine. Make mistakes. It is absolutely okay. It's not going to pinch you as much. We don't have to optimize all our decisions.
Right. But that is when we, when we have to make that choice of taking the, not spending too much energy on revolving door decision and rather spend energy on one-way door decision by that point completely.
Yeah.
But when I am taking a one-way door decision, which as per what I hear from you is a system 2 decision, right? So that will happen once.
Yeah. But let me put it this way. Not all big decisions are system 2 decisions sometimes, because in India, we have the concept of arranged marriage. So you end up marrying someone which might not be a choice you made. It might be a choice made by your parents.
Right.
Okay. So what we assume, and this is this is a common myth that we have. We think that not making a decision is not a decision. Okay. Right. Not making a decision, like when someone chooses a life partner for you, I say, I'll outsource this decision to my parents or to people who know best.
Right.
But not making a decision is also a decision because it affects you. And the autopilot that we are on, what it does is we think we don't make decisions, it won't affect us. And once the consequence of it hits us, then we start playing the victim. And we start blaming someone else who made that decision for us. As adults, take ownership of your decisions. And when we talk about decision making, there's this book of Dale Carnegie, which he had this wonderful line in terms of decision making, which helped me. Okay. What he said was, in life, if you can make 50% of your decisions right, you're successful. Yeah. 60%, you're like a billionaire.
Wow.
70%, you're either Abraham Lincoln or Mahatma Gandhi. That's the ratio. 50% is all that you have to get right. So you don't have to worry. And we have this thing that we reflect on the wrong things. Like we like to sit and think over the decisions that went wrong, which kind of make us live in the past, and then we don't move ahead from it. Yes, you need to reflect on your decisions, learn from them and move ahead. Don't get stuck there.
मैं ऐसा ही हूँ.
मैं ऐसा ही हूँ. And that's not a recipe for success. So that's one thing which we've not been trained or taught. Like these are skills that. So when people ask me, why are you a behavioral economist? Like this is such a unique thing. No one knows about it. And my answer is the biggest schools for behavioral economists are London School of Business. So London and Chicago both. Okay. When the highest population of the world is here in India and China, we are the ones who should be studying people because we have the highest amount of people. And we don't understand how people function. So we just follow a template that someone else gives us. And if we don't understand how people function, we will not be able to bring out the highest potential of our people.
I agree. And, more so with the famous Millennial Generation, we all want to push the envelope. We all want to find space for things like my choice, my purpose, there is a desire for that, but because nobody has ever taught us how to do it.
Yeah.
तो हमें बोलना तो बहुत है ये सब, लेकिन करना आता नहीं है. It's not that we don't want to do it. It's just that nobody taught us how to. Yeah. How do I bring myself in my decision?
Yeah.
How do I apply my intentions, my choices? What are my choices? I don't, most people struggle with those kind of clarities as well. Yeah. So I get it when you say that, you've got to find a way to come around your decisions. You have to find a way to, apply yourself, give it time, think about it, talk to somebody. I mean, all of it sounds so logical, honestly, Harry, that I'm feeling like, why didn't I think of this before? I mean, it's honestly sounding like such common sense things, But every time we are faced with a situation where we have to make a big decision, just the thought of it feels so exhausting. You're like, I don't know how do I go about this,
So there's this National Education Policy 2020 that the government came up with. There's a problem statement that they talk about in India with our education system. Okay. They say, we tell our kids what to think and what to learn instead of how to think and how to learn. Okay. And this is a major problem. Now, it's not like the West is ahead. And let me break it down a bit more further for you. We are byproducts of our environment. Okay. So in US, in Europe, you have to understand that they have winter where it snows. It's very harsh conditions, right? And the population is less compared to us. Right. So There are times that you will walk in the US or in Europe at night and you might not meet a single person on the road. Never happens in India.
Absolutely.
Okay? Because of those harsh conditions, now the challenge is, in winter, you cannot grow crop. There's no vegetable which grows in the snow, right? So you have to plan ahead. So during the summers, they have to optimize farming, systems, storage, everything so that they survive during the winter, you know. And because people are less, you have to do a lot more yourself. So you have to, it's a necessity to survive. So it's not a choice where you tell a kid, don't wash the dishes or don't, help in cooking, because people are less. You have to help out.
You have to, correct.
India, the problem we had was, it didn't seem like a problem earlier. Historically, we were surrounded by the Himalayas, and because of that, India had really good weather conditions. We had great rivers, which gave us fertile land. So there's plenty of water, plenty of trees, plenty of fruits, plenty of animals. So we didn't lack resources. Okay? Because we didn't lack resources, we didn't need to do all this. We didn't need to make choices, because if I was hungry, I could go out and there's so many plants. I just need...
All through the year.
All through the year. So I didn't have to plan, what I'm going to grow. That came in much later when farming became a business. When the Britishers came in and all that scarcity came in, where we became a population without money. Earlier we weren't that. And that is where making frameworks to plan way ahead wasn't the need or the necessity of the environment. But in the West, that was a necessity. The second thing which historically World War I and II happened to them. Okay? So a lot of women in India, they want to shift abroad. And when I meet urban women, they feel that they are respected outside, they feel safe outside India. And feminism as a concept is more evolved there. And I like to point it out to them. After World War II, it's not like feminism came up in the West because they were ahead in terms of thinking. After World War II, 70% of their male population was dead. So who's...
In the war.
In the war. So who's going to run the factories?
Yeah. True.
So they were forced to allow women to work. Till then, women were not allowed in the factories. So the cigarette companies, whose main target audience was men, especially men who are fighting a war, smoke more. But 70% of them are dead now. What do? So you create a PR campaign, talk about... the strategy was, let's create a new target audience. Women are a new target audience. Let us tell them that smoking is your way to symbolize independence. Okay? And this was a PR campaign which was very successful. And so they had models smoking cigarettes in public spaces in the US and Europe to just make it look like that's what you want to be.
Oh.
Okay. And
so creating like a latent need through aspirational imagery and things like that.
Yes, they are great storytellers. That's one thing we are bad at. We are not great storytellers. We don't tell the story of India well. Others tell the story of their country and their aspirations much better than we do. So feminism was something which was a necessity. It wasn't something which came through natural, organic ways, right? And we never faced it. So then where was the need for feminism? But now we have evolved and we've reached there through our mindset, which is harder. Like if half the population of men just don't exist in India, then you don't need the mindset. It's just survival at that point. So, yeah.
Wow, that's like interesting stuff, man. I mean, I never looked at feminism in that light. It always felt like somebody had a germ of an idea that everyone needs to be equal, and then everything that has happened is history. But
Yeah, that's my job, finding how that came to be.
yeah, I mean, it changes so much actually if you think of it. But maybe that for another day. One thing that we spoke of quite a lot through these examples was to reflect over your decision. I have very little understanding of reflection, but I do understand what the term means. But I want everyone who's tuned into this episode to understand what reflection is, how do you do it, and how does it help in the process of decision making? Does it?
Okay. So, the key to making better decisions is to activate your subconscious to make decisions for you and training it, right? So, train your system 2 to become system 1. Have you.
So, before that, decision is made in the subconscious or the conscious mind?
Subconscious. So, I'll give you the science of how it happened. Yeah. Scientists put nodes in the brain, okay, to measure what neurons are being fired, and they asked people a question where they had two choices. The system could tell the scientist before the person told them what choice they are going to make.
Wow, really?
Yes. The subconscious makes the decision. You need the conscious brain to justify your decision.
Okay.
So that's how it came to be. So that's when we realized that you need to train your subconscious.
Wow, okay.
Okay. And your subconscious is made up of your conditioning, all the years, the experience that you've had, and that inner voice inside which keeps chatting. Okay. Now the biggest challenge is during our parents' time and before that, we had rituals like praying regularly, meditating, going out in the wild, because by necessity we used to be around nature. Okay. When we do those things and we are doing nothing, let's say, that's quite boring for today's generation. When we do that, that's when you hear the voice inside your head.
Your own voice. The voice of your subconscious.
Yes. Because that chatter starts.
Yeah.
In silence.
Yes.
It doesn't start when there's noise around you. Okay. And the reason for that is with our senses, like our eyes, if I don't want to see something, I can shut my eyes. I don't want to hear something, I can't shut my ears.
Even if I do, it's a failed attempt.
It's a failed attempt. So any auditory signal that comes in, I have to listen to it. It takes away my attention. Okay. So when I sit in silence is when I don't have noise. That's when I hear the inner voice.
Okay.
So ways you can do this is you can write. Okay. So there are people who write gratitude journals, right? That's a great way to listen to your inner voice and bring it down into paper. Okay. Second is meditation. Okay. Third is play a sport. Okay. So if you're playing tennis, for example, and when you play a sport, there's that flow state that comes in. Okay. At that point, you're not talking. That chatter has stopped.
Right.
But to achieve that state is going to take a lot of practice. So when you practice to master a certain sport, you usually have that voice in your head which is going to critique you. Okay. So when you're playing tennis, you hit a shot and your brain's going to say, oh, my arm movement had to be like this.
Okay, got it.
My wrists had to be more straighter. My left shoulder had to twist a bit more. These are things my voice tells me. Right. That's my feedback loop, right? So when you play a sport, by necessity, that voice starts talking to you. Right. And it's a great way to train that voice at that time.
How do you train it? Just by letting it talk?
Yes. Once you let it talk, initially what comes out is the noises that you hear. Yeah. Okay. After some time, once those noises have come out, that's when you hear your true self. Without the influence of media, people around you, but you have to sit that long with your own voice. So most writers have better clarity about who they want to be because they sit with themselves for a long time. You know, most designers also do it because they are designing alone.
Yeah. So any work that needs to be done in isolation,
Where
you have to apply yourself in it.
Yeah, that's a great way. That's a great way to get feedback going. That's a great way to reflect.
Acha.
Yeah, but another way you can do it, if you can't do it, is have a conversation with someone who you're very close to. By this I mean you can be honest and vulnerable.
Right.
Okay. So for me, that's my wife and my business partner as well. He's my best friend. Both of them, I can be vulnerable and honest and share whatever I want without being judged. Without being judged is the key part here.
Otherwise, you're always putting your best.
Yeah. So when I talk about my failures to them, they help me reflect on what are the things that I did right and what are the things that I could improve on. Okay. So I have better clarity now.
That's true.
You know, if I try to do it by myself, it's harder. Okay. But if I try to write it down, what happens is I can look at those notes after a few days. After 2 weeks from now, if I read those notes, then I become the outsider to that emotion. You know, so that's also a great way to reflect. So I used to do this earlier where I used to just write down and read that 2 weeks later, a month later, then I could go back to that moment and think back, oh, I did this. Maybe this is what I need to change, you know.
It happens so many times, even when you go back to some messages that you've written. Maybe it's an idea that you've had and you've just written it out. And you go, it happens with me a lot where I just go back after 6 months or a year and I'm like, oh wow, I thought of this. Yeah. You know, but because the mind is not trained to capture what you've thought, you've forgotten about it.
That's one part. The second part is the mind is a trickster. Okay. So situations that have happened in the past, I might have not been the center of that context or that story. But now when I come to think of it, my brain makes me think I was the hero in that story. Okay? This is a trick that the brain plays. It always does this. And that is why in a professional setting, you take down notes. You record the meeting. Yeah. You take a video, you take an audio. You record the meeting so that you don't depend on your memory, because your memory is going to play a trick on you.
Right.
And this I learned from the West. I went to US for the first meeting I had in the US. There were 4 people. 2 of them were in their 60s, 2 were in their 40s. I was talking and all 4 were taking notes. 2 of them were millionaires. I was like, you could have an assistant do this. But they were like, I don't want to depend on my memory. So the 2 of them who were older, they were taking notes on their books, the others on their laptops. Use whatever works for you. But I can say with 100% guarantee, your memory is a trickster and it will trick you into thinking that what happened was not what happened. It's something else, you know. So today when I tell the story about the dating app, I say, you know what, I did this, I did that. But if you ask my wife, she might be like, oh, I knew that he's a great guy. That's why I showed interest. And maybe she was the hero in the story, not me, you know.
In her story, she will be.
Yeah, but that's how our memory is. We get only our perspective. So reflection kind of removes that bias. Takes away that part where your memory plays a trick because you've recorded it or you've spoken about it to someone. Okay. You know, so you have some place where you can go back and discuss this and know for sure that you won't be tricked.
ये ऐसा नहीं हुआ था ये.
ऐसा नहीं हुआ था. Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting, man. And this can be done in all walks of life,
All walks of life.
whether you're making decisions for your business or your relationships, everywhere.
Everywhere. See, as in our religion, there were rituals that we followed which had reflection in it. Okay, for example, when we pray throughout the year, there are festivals which are dedicated to certain contexts. Like some festival is around your career or to be successful. Some festivals are about your faith. Some festivals are about love. When you celebrate those festivals, you remember and reflect the stories. So for Valentine's Day, you're reflecting back on the day you met your husband, and you're going to go back to all the good things that he does for you. And so these are rituals that were there. Okay. What we've done is we've taken out the reflection from it and now made it like, I have to go to Goa for Valentine's. You need to take me out for Valentine's. It's become materialistic. And I always like to think about, I'm a Christian, but what I noticed is when you read the Bible, the day I lost belief in Christianity was when I read the whole Bible. And I realized that most Christians are not living like Christians. You go to church and the priest says, you shouldn't smoke. It's bad for you. You come out of church, the moment you cross the gate, you'll see an uncle, and you're like, didn't he just say that? And that's when you realize that most people don't take it at face value. They don't live by what they say. That's why you shouldn't believe people at what they say. You should look at what they do. And that's where behavioral economists like to look at what you do, not what you say, because you could say all the right things and then not do anything.
Another discovery for me in this conversation was that decision doesn't happen, or decision is defined when you take the action and not the conversation that's happening in the head. In my mind, decision was always the conversation that is leading me to taking the decision. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. But this sounds more like it, that when you finally say that, okay, I'm going to do this, that is the action towards your intent is the decision, right?
Yes.
That itself is at least for me, it's like something that I've like a wrong understanding that I've been living with. And that's why I'll give you an example. When I finished my 10th and I was to take up one of the streams, either commerce, arts or science, and I was right in the middle. Okay, I wasn't ever a very bright student, nor was I a very dull student. So that was not a good place to be in, unfortunately. So I was right in the middle somewhere with a distinction, decent marks to go and tell people ki, oh, I have distinction. Yeah. Now comes the time when I have to make a decision about what stream do I take. Yeah. And I decided today I am going to decide. Yeah. I remember walking in my room, like walking up and down in my room, and I'm just going on doing this, and I'm seriously trying. Yeah. But nobody has taught me how to think. Yeah. So I'm just telling myself, okay, what career should I take? What career should I take? And I spent half an hour until my father came to me and he said, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm thinking what career I should choose. And he's like, but how are you going to think like this? I said, I don't know. So I felt like that whole process was so overwhelming, Harry, that I ran away from taking any decisions. So the best I did was, let me go to the college where my name is in the first list. Yeah. Yeah. And I chose commerce because of that.
That's what the brain was designed for. The easy decision.
I had my name in one of the lists in a science college. Okay. But ideally I should have taken up arts because psychology was my favorite subject. And I'm like, my goodness, decision making is it's clearly a very difficult thing to do. At least I don't know how to do it. So I always thought that the chatter in the mind that leads you to taking that action is decision.
Yeah, it's not.
Clearly not.
And also, when you look at the West, you'll notice that after school, they don't directly go into graduation.
Yeah.
They go to work. They take time or they take a break.
Yeah.
They try to do things. Either that is travel or work, which helps them understand what they're good at, what they need to be doing.
I also think in the West, kids are given a little more, I won't use the word freedom, but they are allowed a space where they can start thinking for themselves a lot earlier than what Indian kids are given, I feel.
No, you're absolutely right. I can give an example in the Indian context for this. Okay. So there are many people in India who, even as adults, they live with their parents. Okay. The first time I moved out of my house and I started living alone, okay, what I realized is I'm not the person that I was when I was at home.
Okay. As in a good way or bad?
It's different. It's not good or bad. It's just that at home, I'm the Harry who's pampered by my mom. So I'm going to lie down on the sofa. I'm not going to do too much. The moment I shifted to my own house, there were things that I wanted in my house. Like the house has to be clean, like there has to be order, and there are things that have to be kept a certain way. And the way I think over there is very different. So what I like to say is, we all have masks that we wear in different environments. And most of us, when we have our own space, that is when we truly understand ourselves. A space where you can be alone, where you can be safe. That's where, so the first time man invented fire, the greatest thing that happened was not that we could cook. That wasn't the aim. At night, when you're in the jungle, there's so many insects, so many predators which come out at night. Now, because you had fire,
You could see that.
you could see them, but they are afraid of fire. So the lion doesn't attack you when there is fire. The insects don't come near you where there is fire. There is a certain radius beyond which they will not come closer to the fire, right? So once you had fire, is the first time we could lie down peacefully.
Oh.
That's the first time we could look at the stars and think for ourselves.
Interesting.
Before that, we are always afraid ki where am I going to get? Yeah. Think about that safety. That's what I'm talking about. When you move away, and it could be even having your own room in the house. I don't mean that just because I said this, you take up a house, take that course. No.
They'll all come running after you.
Have a space you can call your own. But when it's your room, no one's allowed inside without your permission. Your parents can't just come in and open the door. They have to knock.
These things don't apply in Indian households.
Yeah, but this is what is required if you want to see your true self. If you want to take off that mask and find out who you are. See, as a founder, as a business owner, there's something I like to tell is running a business is the best way to discover yourself.
I'm sure.
Okay? Because it puts you in scenarios which you did not know that you could do that. You probably didn't know that you would be hosting a podcast. But because you put yourself out there in this position, suddenly you've discovered that I'm good at this. This is great because I had a problem. And I like to look at it as problems are the greatest blessings that you have in life. If you have the right mindset towards it. A problem which makes you struggle helps you peel off the layers which is holding you back. It helps you find that Harry inside, which for me is the true self that I'm looking for. And it helps me be the best version of myself because I had to struggle. The struggle takes off those layers. And today I'm happy because I failed, I struggled, and I reached here. You know, but without the struggle, I would be happy lying on the sofa, and I would just be that version of myself who might not live up to it, live up to my true potential. So the conditioning that we have, like especially from school, that, like you said, the toppers are the winners, the others are losers, is not great. It's not great to have that kind of mindset throughout your life. Absolutely. Because you keep looking down on yourself. Instead, you should be talking about, oh, they have a stronger memory and I still managed to do this. Or you could keep saying that maybe this is not where I want to be. Maybe I've not found the right place for me. So this could be a great place to go out and venture and see what fits you. There's an interesting friend of mine who loves to rescue dogs. Okay, so he studies local Indian dogs. Okay, now this will seem like something which is a hobby or a passion for someone. He did this and he got invited to a conference in the US just to talk about how Indian dogs are different from pets in the West. Okay, the biggest insight, on the last day, most of them were crying.
Really?
They were crying because they said, today I know what it means for a dog to be free because I got to see it in India.
Wow.
And that's something they've never experienced. Abroad, when two dogs have a fight, they bark at each other, there's a conflict, a dog behavioralist has to counsel them to get back to their old mode. There is a reset which needs to be done, which takes time. Sometimes it takes days. In India, a street dog fighting with another street dog forgets it within 5 minutes. And when they witness it themselves for the first time, their beliefs are shattered. This is what he does.
But it also comes from some kind of confidence that he has in his own self and his choices and his decisions, isn't it? A lot of us struggle where we feel like we found a niche and then the whole conversation is around, but is this going to make money? Is this going to be socially accepted? And that's where the whole decision making around careers or decision making around relationships or jobs, all of these come to a halt. And then you go by, okay, let me, talk to my parents once because they've seen life more than I have, kind of stuff happens.
Now the thing is, this friend of mine I'm talking about, this probably is this 15th pivot he's taken in his career.
Really?
He was clear about one thing. I want to work with dogs. Okay. So he became a dog behavioralist, trainer, a dog rescue person, built communities for dogs. He tried to find revenue there in different settings. It took him years to reach here.
Of course.
Okay. But now that he's found the sweet spot. We don't want to spend that time. Like, your career is 8 hours a day for the rest of your life, which is majority of your lifetime. If you cannot spend even 8 months exploring what you're good at, then you have basically said, let me not make a decision. Let's go with what's easy. Then you're playing the victim now. The day you change that is when you take ownership. Extreme ownership of where you are today and say, I want to change this. And you have to be okay with failing to do that. And that's the hardest part in India. We don't talk about failure. We
don't talk about failure also because there is a undue pressure put on us of should not fail. You should not fail. Schools do that. I mean, what is a mark sheet? But He got a red line and I didn't, and it's not. That's how we are conditioned. So that's why the fear of failure must come from there, right?
Yeah, but you have to unlearn it. If you have to succeed, you have to unlearn it. I used to play a lot of football. So when I started initially, my entire aim was, when I start playing, I have to win the match. There was no possibility of me losing, So I always went into the match thinking that I have to win. Then I got a coach, and what he taught me was, you don't always have to win. You only have to do your best.
Right.
Win or lose is not on you. Right. Doing your best is on you. Right. Okay. So this might seem like a very simple thing. It took me 2 years to change that behavior. And when I changed it, while I was playing, I wasn't as aggressive as I was, because now I'm not looking to win. I'm looking to do my best. So I was more calmer. So think about, probably I was more like Virat Kohli, more aggressive. And then after I learned that I have to be my best, I became like Dhoni. I was more calmer. It improved my game. I was the top scorer for 2 years in that league, just because I changed my mindset of, it's not win all, and if I lose, it's okay. I did my best. If I don't do my best, that's a problem.
That's true.
But if you put your best foot forward, I think the outcome is not on you, and you have to be okay with that. So this is one thing which I tell people, that making all the right decisions does not guarantee success.
Okay.
Imagine you started a business, you did everything right, okay? And then we had the pandemic.
Yeah.
Right? You have to shut your business. You can't survive. You didn't do anything wrong. But now the challenge is, people try to pinpoint and say, this is wrong, that is wrong, and you fall for it. You fall for that noise because you don't protect yourself from it. But at the end of the day, the reality is, the world is unfair. Okay? The world is unfair, unjust, and it is going to be like that. The day you accept it, the world becomes easy.
It's true. What I gather from everything that we've been discussing till now is that there is a lot of pressure of the outcome of a decision being success.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when we detach ourselves from that pressure, then probably the process of decision making will be a lot more fulfilling. Yeah. I think in the process of decision making, you'll learn so much about yourself, because now you're not pressurized about, if I choose blue pen, then it better write for 4 hours. I chose the blue pen because I love how it writes. I love the nib, I love the ink, and whatever. I mean, I'll enjoy the process of writing with a blue pen rather than it being instantly compared to some kind of performance or efficiency.
We build that expectation.
Of course.
We are our worst enemies. We build that expectation of being perfect, doing the right thing. We don't need to put ourselves through that, So I have an exercise which I say, what's the worst that can happen? So I talk to people say I'm going to, last year I went to the US because I wanted to get bottom line to the US. Okay. So there was a lot of pressure because it's the first time I'm going there. I've invested money to go there, set up partnerships and all of that. And before going, I sat down with my partner and I said, let's reset our expectations. Okay. Let's think about what's the worst that can happen. We go to the US and nothing works out. We don't get any partnership signed. We don't get a contract. We don't get a license. We don't get revenue. So we wrote down all the worst things that are possible. And then we said, oh, that's it. That's okay. I still explored something. I can take photos. I can put it on LinkedIn, say I went to the US. So I can create some value out of it. It doesn't have to be zero value, But writing down the worst case scenario just makes it easy for us to deal with it. As simple as that. And if you don't do that, then that uncertainty, the problem is uncertainty. If you're certain what's the outcome, it's not a problem. Our brains don't know how to deal with uncertainty. So then it just stresses out. वैसा धक-धक होने लगता है, and yeah, so.
It's like what you said some time back, right? That if you identify the emotion, if you can articulate that emotion, then you can make a better, or you can at least delay a decision that you are probably taking in impulse.
Yes. And there is another way to do it as well. So when I'm happy, I smile. Okay. When I smile, there are neurons that fire in my brain.
Right.
Okay. The opposite is also true.
Right.
I'm not happy, but I smile. The same neurons fire in the brain.
Really?
And the brain thinks that I'm happy. So the emotion also comes out.
Are you serious?
Yes. So when you're stressed, what tends to happen is your heartbeat becomes faster. Okay. So if you can do the opposite, you control your breath.
Oh, you're doing the opposite to a palpitating heart.
Yes. You control your breath, you get your heartbeat to the normal pace,
Right.
stress is gone.
Right.
So the opposite is also true.
But that is also a decision that one needs to take, right?
If you're aware of
Yeah,
the fact that you're being stressed, then you can say, okay, let me control my breath.
So the whole, I think the whole art of decision making largely lies in articulating either the fear or the feeling that you're feeling,
Triggers,
or
yeah.
that is triggering your.
And being mindful of the decision. If you're in the moment, you're aware of what is happening while making the decision, you have a better chance of, making a better decision.
Yeah.
You can delay it, you can make sure that the emotion is not creating a bias, you can make sure that you're in the right frame of mind to make the decision. At the end of the day, the decision might be right or wrong. That's not on you.
But at least you've created a process for yourself.
Yes. You've done your part.
There are two things that I want to give you as an assignment.
Okay.
If we can do it like right now, it'll be amazing.
Okay.
Can we take one aspect of our life? Say, okay, let's present a scenario, okay? There is a person who has been working in a certain profession, and there is a inner voice that keeps telling him or her that, you're not meant for this. You're meant for something better. You're meant for something different. It's really boring here. You're being underutilized. All of those things happen.
Yeah.
Now this person needs to decide कि करना क्या है.
Yeah.
Can we help people understand how to build a framework for something like this?
We can.
It may not be the absolute this thing, but just the contours of that framework, just so that all of us understand what do you start considering when you want to take a more informed decision, and second, when you want to apply yourself in your decision.
Yeah.
Can we do that?
Yes.
Okay.
So the first thing that you need to do is get out of your normal environment. Physically, if possible, mentally, if that is possible. How you do that is, so you're in a job you don't like, you could shift to another city, you could travel, take a break, put yourself in a new environment where you are not bogged down by the past, the career that you are in, which helps you think of what else you could do.
Okay.
The second thing you could do is, because we all are surrounded by the digital world right now, you could go on social media and unfollow all the people of that profession that you are in today. Okay? And go to a profession or interest areas that you like.
Okay. So let's focus on go on social media and follow people from the same area of interest.
Yes. So
We can do that first to begin with.
So say you are in finance, okay? And you want to probably become an interior designer. Okay, that's or something in design, something which is more creative. You feel finance is quite boring and it's not for you. What you should try and do is, there are these market indicators, these accounting pages and communities that you follow. Hide them. First thing, hide all of them. Then go and try and follow all the people that you can find who are creative. Interior designers, architects, digital artists, all of them. So what you do is, you hack your brain into seeing a feed which is not what you're used to. So the input data, the information that you're feeding is new. So suddenly what you've done is, your environment is going to nudge you to change rather than you depending on willpower. Willpower is the worst thing to depend on.
Why do you say that?
Because it doesn't work.
What do you mean?
Willpower is a myth. Okay? If you want to be healthy, let me give you an example. If you want to be healthy, you don't take a gym membership, you hire a trainer. Okay? If you want to be healthy, all the chips, all the processed food that you have in the kitchen, you throw it out. You don't buy them. So your kitchen doesn't have banana chips when you need it. It doesn't have Lay's when you need it. So now what happens is, when you're hungry, it's not there in the kitchen. So you have to make a decision of buying it. And at that point, you are aware that, okay, I don't want to buy it. But if it is there in the kitchen, you might as well go and, I'm hungry, I wanted to munch on something.
But doesn't willpower play a role when you're living with a family of 5-6 people and 2 of them are not dieting?
That is why you make someone accountable for it. You outsource willpower to someone else. When I hire a trainer, he forces me to exercise. I don't do it by myself. If I have to go to the gym and think, aaj kya karna hai, that's willpower. I have to fight that battle every day. Okay?
Until it becomes part of your system, of course.
That's going to be a harder task. So you always outsource it. You tell your mother, your husband, whoever's at home, that I want to be healthy. I don't want to eat all these things. So if I go and eat that, stop me. And they can help you out. Within a family, you can ask your family members to be your partners in this. You can just outsource that willpower to them. See, for them, it's very easy to tell you not to eat.
Sure.
So willpower is the worst thing to depend on. When we try and change, we put ourselves under pressure by saying, I'll force myself to change. That's the worst thing. You change the environment. You go to an environment where it makes it easy for you to change. That's the way to do it. Yeah.
So, if coming back to our situation, that this person wants to now make a choice whether he should stay where he is or he should get out and he should do something else. So what basic framework can he follow?
So first thing he needs to do is try and find out if there are people who've done that. Okay. So the best way to learn is from someone who's already done it. So if you have people around you who've taken that step, speak to them. Go meet them for coffee. Talk about what they did. How did they change? Go to conferences, design conferences. Go to these conferences where you'll find people who are creative or in the interest area that you're looking for. You'll be connected to them. You'll add them on Instagram. You'll add them on Facebook. Suddenly your feed is filled with them. Now when you see them throughout everywhere that you go, it'll feel like an easy decision to shift, because now you have a support system. You have an environment where people want you to do it. If you depend on it by yourself, that's going to make it harder. So meeting people in environments which are made for this interest is a great way to change.
Or at least it's a great way to start.
Great way to start.
And then depending on your nature and your likes and dislikes, you can add your kind of things. Not post 5 p.m., not entertaining, cutting out the noise. Those things are very personal, and you can just add it the way you can follow.
But there's one more thing you have to do. You have to set a deadline. So, see, we make decisions in scarcity.
Yeah.
Scarcity can be time, money, resources, anything, right? So, if you say that I want to change my career, you should say that I want to change my career by November this year. Okay? So, you have to keep a deadline. If you don't keep a deadline, you will become like, there are these people who I like to call wantrepreneurs.
They want to become entrepreneurs, wantrepreneurs. Nice, I like it.
And everyone talks about, I have this great idea. I want to do this. I could always open a cafe, They never do it because they don't keep a deadline. It's easy to outsource the decision to my future self, and that's what we do every time. That's how we trick ourselves. So we have to keep a deadline. That deadline can be, say, I have this much money in the bank. I will bet on myself for a year. So you keep the boundary. The boundary can be both sides. When to make the decision to change or when to make the decision not to change. So it has to have a winning criteria and a losing criteria. So that's what a boundary does. You don't just say, this is the part I changed. No, that's not how it works. You define a boundary and say, these are the kind of people I want to associate with, and I want to do it if these conditions are met.
Right.
And once they are met, it's very easy for you to make that decision. And another thing is, talk about it to people. Social influence is very strong in India. Okay? We are very driven by what people think about us, right? So if you tell people, I don't want to be in finance. By next year, I'm going to change my career. I'm going to be in something creative. You tell this to everyone you meet. Suddenly there's pressure. You put yourself out there. You're going to look like a failure if you don't do that. So you make it harder for you not to do it.
So set a deadline and go and communicate it.
Yes. So suddenly it should be easier for you to just go there than bear the brunt of everyone asking you, Arey, you were saying that you want to do this.
Yeah.
So you're stuck and you do that to yourself. That's what I mean by going all in.
Interesting. I hope anybody who's at mid-career crossroads, I hope somebody uses this. I will try and use these frameworks for at least 2 or 3 major decisions of mine. And somewhere I feel like, I have kind of done it when I switched careers. We just do it very subconsciously. And I think the key operative word for me for this discussion has been articulation of what's going on inside. Yeah. It's so important, I also get a whiff of having to connect with yourself, spending some time with yourself, understand what is it that you really want, shut out the noise and the chatter. So having a good communication with yourself, internal self, is so crucial for everything that you do, even when you're making big and small decisions. For a decision to become a system 1 decision, you've got to do it those many times, right? Which means you have to tell yourself कि ये करना है, रोज उठ के करना ही है, until it becomes system 1.
Yes.
So that's it's amazing, and thank you for telling us about reflection. I really hope that a lot of my fellow learners really take it up, because I believe in that tool. I really believe in reflection. It has helped me identify so many things about myself personally, my emotions, where they came from, why did I feel good, why did I not feel good, and then help better decision making. So it's an amazing tool, and I think that's one of the only tools that aid successful decision making, right?
Absolutely.
And the last thing that I take with me is that you don't always have to get it all right. Decision making is a long-term process. Yeah. Sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't get it. When you don't get it, get up and move on. It's okay. I mean, don't drive yourself nuts to always get it right. Otherwise, you'll miss the whole beauty of exploration and experimentation. That's what I take from everything that you've said. Are there any? Can you give me 2 or 3 myths around decision making? Can you bust them for us? It's just a thing that we do.
We feel that our decisions are inspired by us. Most of them are not. It's inspired by our conditioning, our environment. Second is not making a decision we feel is not a decision. Making a decision is more important than whether the decision is right or wrong.
Absolutely.
Okay. Third thing is there are reactive decisions and proactive decisions. Reactive decisions are when you're forced to make a decision. Okay. So you failed in your career, so now I have to change my career. Okay. That's a reactive decision.
Right.
I like to say that's not a decision because you don't have a choice. Decisions are proactive. Or if you look at it like from a behavioral economist point of view, reactive decisions are also decisions. But if you want to succeed, you have to make proactive decisions. Reactive decisions are going to take you where the world wants to take you.
So give us an example of a proactive decision.
Proactive decision is you choosing to change your career, or you choosing to... For me, a proactive decision was I had a management consulting firm. Okay, I was doing well, but I wanted to teach decision making at scale.
Okay.
I couldn't do it with consulting. So I shut that company and spent 2 years building a product.
Okay.
It's a proactive decision.
Conscious
decision. There was no need for me to do that.
Right.
There was no pressure. There was no stress. But I made that decision because that's what I wanted to do. Without pressure.
Right.
The more you do that, more decisions you make proactively, the less you have to make reactively, because you don't end up in a situation where you're forced to make a decision.
And that's when most times we make decisions when we are pushed to that edge.
Yes. Change that.
That's a big one. That's a big one. And that's why probably decision making feels like a very overwhelming process, because you're already pushed. You've waited so long to finally make that choice that you're like, "Arey, abhi nahi karungi to khatam ho jayega. I have to do it." Yes. And in that you will end up taking most times very impulsive and short term and wrong decisions.
And that emotion is strong at that point.
Yeah.
When you make the decision, the emotion goes away. So it feels calm after you made the decision. Before the decision, because you're cornered, look at an animal which is cornered. It's very stressed out,
Correct.
And that's why you feel relief after making the decision. Don't bring it to that situation.
At least in situations that we can.
Yeah.
Amazing. This was great. Thank you so much. It was a lovely, lovely, lovely conversation. It's exactly what I expected from this chat.
Thank you for this opportunity. And I always look forward to having an open and honest conversation like this.
Absolutely. We don't know any other way. Thank you so much. Thanks, Yan. I hope you found this video useful. Firstly, thank you for taking the time out to watch this video to make your life better. Thank you for sharing this video with somebody who you think needs it. And I'm really waiting to meet you halfway in the next episode.